didn't have any place to put all my crap, so I just walked up like I'm moving. Welcome, everyone. How's everybody doing? So this is going to be a super fun panel. I prepared a couple questions myself, but this is really about you guys. So if you have questions, line up. We'll be taking questions throughout the entire panel. Please don't be psychotic. And I guess that's the only rule. Are you guys ready? Pleasure to introduce to the stage Mr. Tahmoh, Penikett, and Eliza, Dushku.
We did 3 years ago. We did it right after we did the original pilot. Was anybody there? 4 people.
From Chicago to San Diego. So you guys were on a little program called Dollhouse. I love the kind of sports enthusiasm from the guy in the front row.
Those are our peeps, dude. You don't even get it.
Oh, no, I do. I live among the nerds. I know how it works. Eliza, you actually developed the show with Joss, right? So could you
I did, we did.
Tell a little bit of the story about how that came about? Did you approach Joss? What happened?
Well, we had worked together on another little show called Buffy.
Yeah.
And I moved out to LA to do a few episodes of Buffy, and we became kind of BFFs, and we had such a great time on that show, and the character of Faith was so beloved by fans. Faith monsters or something. And so we did the show. Years later, I wanted to work with him again because he's my homie. And so I called him and we went to lunch, and a 4-hour lunch turned into coming up with the idea for Dollhouse.
So in one lunch, you guys came up with the concept for Dollhouse.
Some people know the story. He literally went to the bathroom, and when he came back, he was like, it'll be called Dollhouse. So
what's he doing there?
We were also at, he had picked this fancy schmancy restaurant in LA, the Ivy by the Shore.
Oh, yes.
And we wondered what show would come out of our lunch had we been at like a Wendy's or a Burger
So then, how did you get Tahmoh involved? Did you audition for it, or did you already?
We begged. Yeah, right. Far from begging. I got the call though. That was flattering enough. My manager called me up and he said, Joss Whedon wants to talk to you about a project, and I was like, really? Well, why is he calling? Have you given him my number? What's going on? And so Joss called me and we had a great conversation. And we talked for like 45 minutes. And he talked at length about the premise of the show. And it sounded amazing because as you all know, the premise was so unique. Nothing had been done like that in television. And the way he described Paul and Eliza's character and their relationship and the course the show was going to take possibly, over the first season was, it was so interesting. And I was so flattered that he was, calling and asking me to be a part of it. And when he first started telling me too, I immediately thought of a book that I recently read in the last year called Never Let Me Go. Has anybody? That's the book, right? Did anybody see the movie? Really quite good. I mean, oftentimes adaptations aren't very good, but it was excellent. Anyway, I remember mentioning the book. I was like, Kyle likes this book I read. Josh was like, that is so strange. He goes, I read that book too. He goes, yeah, I think I stole some ideas from that, didn't I? And I'm like, hey, I won't tell you, don't tell me.
And the lawsuits begin now.
Exactly. Now just rat it out, just hey, it's not my boss anymore. I can rat him out. And then after that, I ended up having a test. This lovely lady flew all the way back from Peru. She was in Peru. She's always somewhere all over the world. And she flew all the way back, and then we read together. And I found out a few days later that I had a job. So, yeah, it was great. That's how I got it.
Lucky to have you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys know what the testing process in television is. You go into a room full of angry, soulless executives who are tied together with strings of hatred. And you basically have to perform, like you have to be as real as you can be in this really artificial environment. So what was your testing process?
No pressure. This is the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. You get one shot. You screw this up, it's over.
Yeah, you know what? Luckily, this wasn't one of those situations. Joss was kind enough to take me into one of his studios of Fox, the two of us. I think we had a cameraman. There was 4 of us. Everyone was around, but I think Joss had actually instructed them. Maybe it's because he felt how nervous I was or something, but he told people to hide. They weren't allowed to be around. There was all the casting people were there. They were hiding behind the pictures and stuff. Every once in a while, a cough or a sniffle, or see the lights peek out or whatever. It was basically just the 3 of us. And it made it a lot easier for me.
Joss is very actor-friendly.
Yeah, he is.
He knows the drill, and he wants to keep it, make people comfortable. And it's rare, but it's nice.
And so that, I assume that's what it's like to work with him on a day-to-day basis as well.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I think you see, he's known for discovering people that don't necessarily have a huge career, pre him, and it's amazing that he can really tap into people and get them to, just pull out these incredible performances from people that are relatively new in business. And it's because of that, what we're talking about, that that intimidation factor isn't there. He's so comfortable. He's so self-deprecating and funny and weird and adorable.
He's just so much to work with. Yeah, because he is like that. Eliza can tell you a million stories. She's obviously worked with him for years, but he can be very serious because he knows what he's going to do as a director and a writer and executive producer. He has a vision. He works at a quick pace also, but when he needs to, he's the weirdest little goofy man you've ever seen. He's incredibly witty and funny, but he'll throw into this weird little dance. Maybe you can try and convince Eliza to do this. I don't do it justice. Strangest thing you've ever seen, but you laugh your ass off when you see it. And he'll pull it out at the weirdest times too. You're like, really, Joss? Are you dancing?
Kind of like the Elaine from Seinfeld meets a chicken knee knocking. It's bizarre.
I think that is the first time anything's ever described as Elaine from Seinfeld meets a chicken. Joss, I'm sure you guys know, Joss is the real deal. He is the real deal hardcore nerd. I lived across the street from him for a while.
You did?
And we would just kind of, every once in a while, I'd come home and he'd be coming home at the same time, and we would just shout Python references across our back. Hey, Joss! And he would shout back, that is a guy I want to marry. You were a child actress. You had done some stuff like True Lies. And so, but then you take some time off and went to school and all that stuff?
I was going to. I was about to take time off. Well, I took time off to go to high school a little bit, and then I was enrolled my mother's a professor, and I was enrolled at her university, and I was 17, graduated high school, and I was about to go to school. I had my dorm picked out, and I got asked to do a few Buffy shows, so I thought I'd make some money for school, and came out to do a few shows, and then, it was like, Buffy or college? Buffy or college? Buffy, the guy who go to college later.
Well, and it was so perfect because, your character, well, I'm surprised, it seems like, that character probably should have been there from day one, just to have that perfect dark counterbalance to Buffy. I asked Twitter for some questions, and this lady...
Please don't ask them all.
What?
answers in a little bit.
Yeah, listen, I just have 200,000 or 300,000 questions to get through. This one is at Selson asks, this is a lady, when you played Faith, I'm just doing a voice that I think might be hers. Hey everybody, my name is Ed Selson. When you played Faith, did you play up the sexual tension with Buffy on purpose, or did you just have great chemistry with Sarah?
I think there are just some things that are there. It's just happening.
I just mentioned her name. Did you make a I don't know.
No, it's funny. Actually, Sarah, I had known Sarah. We had the same manager from when we were both like 10 years old. My manager found me on my first movie when I was 10, and she represented myself and Sarah and Brittany Murphy. And so we had known each other for a long, for a while. So that was sort of how I got to on the show. I didn't know much about the show before I was on it, and so we were just sort of these opposites, and I blazed in, and we did it.
Now, did you do all your own stunts? There were a lot of high kicks.
I like the stunts. I mean, I'm a very physical young woman, and I grew up with 3 brothers, and I always enjoyed.
Just saying. She kicked my ass a few times in the show.
And I broke my finger. It wasn't fighting, but yeah, I enjoy jumping in. I remember watching some of the one of my first episodes, and every time I saw the stunt woman, I would get really pissed off. So I wanted to be in it and not have, the cutaways of like, wig flying heat.
Yeah. But you just see some like husky chick with a poor dude with a wig.
Don't get me wrong, we had some badass stunt people that actually came back and worked with us on Dollhouse, and that I've requested at various points in my career. They're awesome. There's some stuff that I just can't do. But I do like to do as much as I can, as much as the studio will allow.
Right.
Yes.
They don't want you to get hurt.
Right.
Now, Tahmoh, for instance, is a Muay Thai kickboxer. Is that not correct?
It's a passion of mine. I do as much as I can. I've recently actually been training again. Unfortunately, in business, oftentimes when you're working here, but just can't do it consistently.
Yeah, but
I have been doing it.
If you want,
That scene with you in the pilot, though, was so hot. Remember the fighting and the tattoos? You were gnarls.
That's thank you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I starved myself for about 2 weeks for that scene. No, that scene originally was written. I remember when I got it, the first episode, Joss wrote it as a boxing scene. Joss being a big Battlestar Galactica fan, he'd seen in order that I wrote a boxing scene. So we originally had it written that way, and I went in the office and I was like, knock, it's the first episode, I don't want to bother Joss, being creative and brilliant. At the time, I think he was like twirling a pen, walking around his office, active thought. It's like, Joss, listen, I've been doing this martial art for a number of years, very passionate about it. It's called Muay Thai. He's like, can I have some pad thai with that?
and then you kicked him in the throat.
Yeah, exactly. And then told me, he was saying, pretty much, I convinced Joss to change. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but as long as you can do it, let's do it. He said, the problem is, he goes, I can't tell you how many actors have told me they can do something like ride a horse or a motorbike or what have you. And he goes, we go to the day of shooting, and oftentimes they cannot do this. He goes, I hope that's not the situation. I promise you it's not the situation. So, excuse me. I got to end up helping to choreograph the entire fight scene. I got to beat up a 245-pound Samoan who normally would have squished my head, and I had a ton of fun.
Well, that's another thing about Jaybird, as I lovingly call him, is that he...
And we will all do that too now.
Jaybird!
You're going to shout it across the street when you see him go home.
Jaybird! Poison dart.
A lot of nicknames for that boy. But he's like that. I mean, he likes to take inspiration from the people. And when we sat down for our meeting, it was like we sort of had a promise that I would keep him abreast of all of my adventures and things so that we could sort of write them into the story. And the second episode had what was the second episode called? What was it? With the hunting. The crossbow, yeah.
There's 2,000 nerds here. Someone must know the name of the second episode.
Target. Thank you.
There you go.
Target.
Appropriate name.
It's fucking with him, doll.
I was elk hunting in Colorado. Sorry for the vegetarians out there, but
Wait, what?
I eat what I kill. I think that's the best way if you're gonna eat meat, you know. Thank you.
And you know what? It's so hard to get quality elk steaks. You gotta go out and kill it.
The ones that Trader Joe's are
They're just not good. Yeah, they're not good. They're frozen. You were elk hunting?
I was elk hunting in Colorado, and it was like literally we sent each other crossing emails. I was emailing him my story about the elk that I was taking down, and he was emailing me the story for like the one sheet and like the entire Dollhouse plan. And he wrote, we literally sent an email in the same moment. We had met 2 weeks before. That was kind of weird and cool and serendipitous. And so he was like, yeah, no, the second episode. So it takes things from your life.
That is amazing. Did you use a gun or did you kick the elk in the face?
I am a skilled bow hunter, but I really use a gun.
That is 9 kinds of awesome. I had no idea.
We went before people again.
Yeah, still.
Eliza, didn't they have you on a talk show and you actually pulled up?
Oh yeah, I think it was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, she was on Kimmel's show with that
shot Jimmy Kimmel.
So,
Salt and pepper.
what was the experience like from a producer standpoint? I mean, you know, so you're used to acting on shows and just being a performer. How did your perception of show business change when you actually had to be a producer of a show?
I really loved it, and that's, you know, it was such a great opportunity to have that come to be, because now that's what I'm doing more now. And you know, like you mentioned, I was a child actor, and 20 years, I just turned 30, 20 years I've been in this business, and so just to go to transition into being on the other side and being more of the storyteller and being a producer of the stories you want to tell, it's just, it adds that much more of a personal investment in what you're doing. And so definitely on Dollhouse, it was like, he said in the beginning, you know, this isn't just going to be a cute little title to throw in front of the show. I'm a Dushku producer. I want you to get in it, and I want you to be involved in more ways than just an actor. And it was just, it was rewarding. It was hard, but it was rewarding.
If Tahmoh gave you shit anytime you were like, shut up or you're fired.
I didn't even try.
No,
Even if I wasn't a producer, I don't want to mess with Eliza.
yeah, no, and I made a point to never be that girl. It was like, well, you know, I don't think I ever at one point, you know, threw my P word around.
Excuse me?
It was just sort of.
Gotcha. So, Tahmoh, you, as you mentioned before, we're also on a program called Battlestar Galactica. How did you get involved in BSG, as the kids call it?
So anyway, I had an audition. I went in, there's this guy named Michael Reimer, he was the key director. I had the audition with him. It was a great audition, I felt really good about it, and I didn't get anything for a week, and I'm like, well, I guess I didn't get that job. I think it was 8 or 9 days later I got the call, and I was told that I got the job. That was it.
That's pretty great. And you grew up in Canada. I was reading online, your father, one Canada supporter. Your father was the premier of the Yukon.
He was a premier of the Yukon, yes. It's a very prestigious title.
You didn't know that? What does a premier do in the Western?
I think it's just like it's like a governor. Except, you know, the Yukon is a vast territory. It's very large. If you've ever looked at the map, the part of the you know, the country that Alaska is attached to, that's all the Yukon. So that's where I grew up. There's only 32,000 of us. There's not many of us. So no, he did a lot, but there's only 32,000.
Were you your community theater? Like,
yes, there were
Tahmoh
5 of us.
presents Tahmoh's life.
Yeah, exactly. I've been joking for a while now since I haven't worked in a year. No, I have. But I've always had this ongoing joke with my dad and my agent. I'm like, well, you know, I can always go back to White Horse and do community theater. Which is where I made my start. So I'm doing okay. Yeah, you know, it's a very artistic community. A lot of people don't realize that. Small northern community, specifically, you know, white horses Yukon that I grew up in. A lot of arts, a lot of music, a lot of acting, a lot of theater, and a lot of drinking, and fighting and partying. But music, art, theater, and culture. It's a really nice mix.
And you have like an adorable, delicious like house out in the.
I've got a cottage. Yeah, I've got a cottage. You guys aren't allowed to come unless I invite you. But I'll tell you generally where it is. Does anyone know where Whistler, BC is? Okay, we're one of the best ski hills in the world, so it's just north of that. So I spent a lot of time up there.
I've been working like 18-hour days for 2 weeks, and Tahmoh would like roll in pictures of his iPhone and be like, I was just in my lovely cabin on a stream in the mountains, relaxing, hanging with friends, and all these pictures. I was like, that's awesome, you jerk.
Me with the tan, big hair, wearing some flip-flops, and like no shirt on. She's like, what are you doing?
R&R, man.
She's like, Josh, should we fire this guy or maybe make him work some more?
So people should start lining up if you want to start getting some questions out there. Just line up at the start.
You're always right.
Now, Tahmoh, Eliza, your relationship, your character's relationships between Echo and Valor on Dollhouse, your relationship was interesting. How did, what is this guy doing? Oh, that's so nice.
I'm saving.
Make sure this is okay.
My first time was so sweet. Awesome security in this joint.
That's what it is. I'm a doll. I was programmed to save you.
Thank you for this. I was about to punch you in the head. That scared me for a second. There you are. I just heard big feet running towards me.
You went up on a kickboxer. Also, excellent security. Excellent security. Let's talk a little bit about the relationship that your characters had and sort of how it evolved.
He lives inside me now. We had this talk about our relationship, come on.
Yeah, see how she passed that up. Trying to give it to her, and she's like, Tom. Well, I mean, it was tumultuous at times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing I'd like to say about I'm very proud of Battlestar. I'm proud of Battlestar and Dollhouse. But I think originally when Joss described the ideas and the arc that he was going to have in the first season that our relationship was going to have, it would have taken a very different direction. Who saw the original pilot? What did you guys think of it? It's amazing, right? I was a big fan of it. And it just, things would have happened so differently. And it's really quite confusing when we started off because we were block shooting 4 different episodes. So I kept on having to remind myself, okay, so I haven't met. Who have I met? Like, we were constantly being reminded, Josh would have to put notes on the scripts. It was a little confusing in the beginning. Our relationship, I think, was still finding its feet in some ways in that first season. We eventually, I kind of felt halfway through, it was more clear. And even as an actor, me personally, I started to feel, okay, I know my character a little bit more. I feel more confident in where the direction that they're going to take us. It seemed to be more clear. Whereas, at first it was struggling, and naturally so. We had to cannibalize the original pilot and sort of mix it into the first 3 episodes, which was difficult. We didn't start off that way. I think we did the original pilot, but then, we
it took
the
you a
pilot.
minute to find me, damn it.
Yeah, it did. It was like, I remember reading posts like, is this guy an idiot? Like, I mean, she's right there. When is he gonna find her?
Dollhouse is real. I still say that sometimes.
Well, I think what's so great, and what's great about what you guys did, and certainly I think one of the attributes that Joss has as a creator is that the characters aren't as black and white as characters in a lot of shows, and it was kind of fun to watch the character of Valor just kind of slowly descend into this obsessive kind of thing over Echo.
I think the biggest turn for fans, I mean, anybody who watched the show was when Paul being brought in to the Dollhouse, and she was working for the Dollhouse. That was a huge switch. I mean, it was a great way to wrap up the season.
Yeah. We have some people standing at microphones. Let's start on this side. What is your name, sir? We can't hear you very well, Mitch.
I get that a lot. My name's Coffrey.
Hi, Coffee.
Spoke to you earlier.
I love your name. Egyptian, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a great name. He's a boxer too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Bring it on.
Oh, this is your Q&A. So, what advice do you have for a guy who wants to be named Coffee?
Drink a lot of milk.
All right.
2 things. Eliza, you're truly an original badass. Love you, dude. Tahmoh,
Yes,
quick
sir.
question. Knowing your career with Muay Thai and kickboxing, I wanted to know how it felt to get your ass kicked by Echo, Caroline, and probably most likely Faith. How did that feel? What did that feel like?
I loved it, to be honest with you. I got my ass kicked by Eliza. It was so cool. Every time. It really was fun. I'll tell you this.
When I was like wearing a dress. Yeah.
Yeah. He always handled it so good. They have her in heels. She'd be like throwing kicks and crazes. You know what amazes me about Eliza is because already our challenge, Eliza, we need you to play 5 different characters this episode. 3 different accents. You're gonna have to learn to speak Spanish and Russian. And then we've got a small fight sequence that you're gonna have to learn in 10 minutes and do its own. And she would do it all. She would get it done. She would show up in a day. Amazing. Serious professional here. She always showed up.
I kind of asked for it. It was a little late in the
You
game
did,
to
though.
be
That's
like,
the
yeah, I'm really feeling like doing this right now.
That's Tom Joss.
Josh, I can do everything. Anything. Yeah, and he made you do it, didn't he? And put you through the ring and reward you and stuff. It was great, man. The fight scenes, as she said, our stunt people were awesome on the show. We did a lot of our
Like
own stuff.
Masa. Represent.
They're so talented. They were all like, ex-karate champions, kickboxing champions, taekwondo champions. Very, very talented.
And Mike Masa had it in for me from but Angel days, right? So he'd kick his ass because he doubled David Boreanaz, so he won.
And must be the head stunt coordinator, who was an amazing guy, such a cool cat. Always enjoyed to work with.
Yeah.
So, Tahmoh, you touched on something that this is sort of related to a Twitter question that we got. At Dan Harcourt says, Eliza, what was harder? That's how I do his voice. I don't know why. Sorry. Hey, Eliza, what was harder? Playing a doll or doing all of the character stuff after they programmed you?
Playing a doll, I'd say, because it was so, like, we kept trying to find that doll, too, because it was that blank slate, like, how do you keep a blank slate interesting? And how do you, I'm very expressive, and I, like, gesticulate a lot, and bump my head around, and he was like, yeah, don't do any of that. So we were always trying to find a way for me to kind of be glassy-eyed girl and also keep it interesting. So the doll was more difficult, I'd say.
Cool.
The personalities too. I'm multiple personalities a little bit as is, so that is more up my alley.
Yeah, just all of the don't blink, just the smile.
I like broccoli.
That was one of the best lines ever. I like broccoli.
Sir, what is your name?
Alvin?
Hi, Alvin.
Hello?
Almond.
Yeah. Hello, Eliza. First, I would like to say it's such a terrible loss that last year, 2010, Dollhouse got canceled by Fox before its time.
Well, thanks for reminding us.
And also, the year before that, 2009, another great show, Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, was canceled by Fox as well. And after TSCC, Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles, Summer Blau, she made 4 appearances on Dollhouse as Bennett Halverson.
She was awesome. She was so good.
And my question for both of you is, did you or Summer and Joss ever had a conversation or thought that Dollhouse was going to get canceled way too soon, just like Terminator?
Yeah. Fox and Joss, just look at the history a little. We hoped that it was going to be a new day, and but we can't obviously a bummer that we didn't get to go on, but we were really, really thrilled that this show got to have a life at all. We got to get out the box and got to make it out there for all you fine people to enjoy. And so, I mean, we can't, I just don't look back and like, damn it, you know, assholes. Because we got to do it to that, you know, and for those few seasons, and we got to finish it. Yeah, so actually, you know, and let's be honest, like, you guys rock, but not everybody else came to the party on those Friday nights. And it's a business, and you gotta be realistic, and so, you know, it is what it is.
But at least it must feel okay that you feel like the show had, at least story-wise, you feel like maybe you had a little bit of resolution, unlike something like Deadwood, where it just like, well, it kind of doesn't
matter. It's like, don't come back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, exactly. Like True Calling, the show another show I did, and
yes.
Blowing up the spot.
Seriously, Zach is. I saw a dude. Yeah, I know Zach since the '90s, and it's weird to see a dude walking around Comic-Con with that baby on the front and the glass. I'm like, oh my god, this is weird.
I think we did that too, that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the fact that they let us know that it was going to be canceled, but then they let us finish out the season, and that was a big deal, and very, you know, we're appreciative of that. Closure for us all.
There was a lot of days there, first season and second season, where it was a little too quiet on set. We'd come in, do the blocking on the trailer, take a little nap, and waiting to get started. You know, it's like 5 a.m. and wake up an hour and 20 minutes later and panic, like, oh my god, what's going on? Why haven't they come to get me? We should be shooting. Open the door, like, peek out, and there's no one out there, and I'm like, oh god, we got canceled. Honestly, like when I didn't see anybody, there was a couple times where I was like, oh god, it's it. It's over. It's over.
We didn't think we were going to come back for a second season, let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
that in
It's a big deal.
itself was a surprise and a gift, so, you know.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Does that answer your question, Alvin? Excellent. And now I'm going to call TNCC, Sarah Connor Chronicles. Sir, what is your name?
Raphael?
Raphael, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
No, I'm good, thanks.
I have a comment or comment. I agree with you. I would love to get my ass kicked by Eliza too.
Right?
And on to the questions for Eliza. You said you were mostly used to performing, you know, doing your thing on Faith, and then when you went to Dollhouse, you had to step it up. Not only were you performing, you had to produce too. Like, and obviously you learned a lot. And what did you learn on what it takes to be a producer?
You know, it's funny because the word producer in Hollywood is one of those words that people are always sort of like, what does that mean? And there's no real definition in a way. I mean, it's a producer is somebody that gets the story told, you know, whatever it takes. And so just as far as like being involved in conversations with Joss, being, you know, again, kept in the loop as to like where the story was going and you know, just different aspects of crew and things that I didn't really know about before as an actress, you know, when we were talking, I learned so much and was brought into the world of the actual operation of producing a just TV show as opposed to just looking pretty and showing up, you know? So it was, I mean, definitely they were good to me. I mean, I've been producing a film now that we should be shooting this year, but I've been producing this film for 8 years, and the last 4 have been where it's really gained some momentum. But, you know, you hear that, like I'm doing a biopic on Robert Mapplethorpe, and, you know, I would hear Salma Hayek talk about how it took 9 years to get Freedom Made. I'm like, that's crazy, because as actors, you show up and it's ready to go, you're ready to shoot. But there are just so many different elements. There is so much, you know, that people just don't see that goes into making something come to be. So as far as, you know, what I did, it was a lot of learning and a lot of just being brought into conversations and asked my opinions and my insights and my you know, perspective on where the show went and how we got there. And day to day, also, I think just trying to be a leader and trying to be, again, not just showing up with myself in mind, but thinking of this as like, this is my family, and these are my workers, and we are going to work to make this happen in a different, shift mentally as far as how to get it done. And making sacrifices that maybe I wouldn't have made if it weren't my baby.
I love hearing you talk about your P word. I mean, producer. Is that sufficiently answer your question? Okay, thank you. I didn't realize there were 4 microphones, and so there are people on the wings that, I'm so sorry. I was like, Jesus Christ. Oh, I didn't realize there was a big screen behind us. What is your name, sir?
John.
John, you got a good voice.
Thank you. Hypothetical question to both of you. If Joss called you tomorrow and asked you to be in the Avengers, which role would you want?
I mean, I live in the reality world, so it's not gonna happen, and so I just choose not to play in that part.
Let's turn it around on you.
Oh, snap, you didn't see that shit coming.
What roles do you think we'd be appropriate for? Oh, because I don't think John's.
I would say if Eliza would be perfect to play Hulk's love interest if if Liv Tyler didn't return the same way Edward Norton did. I think it would be also perfect if you wanted to play the Wasp. I think that would be a good choice. For you, I think, man, there's so many to choose from. You could do Hank Pym. You could do, Ant-Man. He's I'm nerdy enough just to know it.
I know it's very tough for me, the Avengers, so I'm not familiar with Hank Pym and M&M.
Yeah. No, I'm psyched for that movie though. I'm so excited for John, for everybody involved, and it's obviously been a question of was I gonna pop into that, and I mean we had just spent we like to space out our times working together, and it just sort of we had just finished this, and that was his thing he was taking off to do.
Excellent. I think this side over here has been neglected. What is your name?
I'm Amanda, and my question was to Eliza. Hello to both of you.
Hi,
Awesome.
I like your costume.
Oh, thank you.
You are wearing, okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was wondering if there was a particular doll implant that you had trouble with, or one that you liked to portray more than the others.
Implant or imprint?
Imprint.
What are you trying to say? Oh, me, girl. I enjoyed, oh my gosh, there were so many, and there were some that I didn't think I would enjoy, and that I really did. I loved,
Bell shows. Bell shows.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
You were hilarious. You were brilliant in that episode. That was one of the funniest, best episodes we did. For
Yeah,
sure.
that was fun.
Also, you got a nice singing voice.
Oh my God.
That's what I was saying.
Thank you. I never claimed to, by the way, just for the record. That was always Joss, like hearing me, singing at people on stage, and I mean on like the set, and he kind of made me do that. There were a lot. I enjoyed like the Target episode because it was so amazing to be whenever we got to sort of leave the dollhouse and go out on these crazy adventures. And that was sort of what I loved about the show, was like that we shot in the Angela's National Forest, and we were like river rafting, and I mean, you get paid to just show up and do cool stuff. And I also enjoyed the Margaret episode. What was that? What was that? Bad long-term memory. But where I got to work, with Olivia, and we were peers in that episode, and Joss put me in an updo, and that was uncomfortable, but we made it through, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, you should feel bad about not remembering stuff because you have a different perspective on this than people who watch the show. I mean, like, you're working 15 hours a day, and you're just trying to bang through stuff in a short amount of time, so a lot of them must feel like kind of a blur.
Yeah, a little yeah.
Yes.
Especially when you do like, I'm sure lots of people say the same thing about Buffy, but when you do an episodic for a lot of years, it becomes, you kind of remember seasons, not episodes so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hours and hours. You're doing 22, 24 episodes a year. I had that with Battlestar a lot. I can't remember the specific episode.
Because I'm sure
But I
people come
loved
up.
playing Echo when she was starting to get a sense of herself, for sure. Because once Echo had really become like a sum of all her parts, and she had access to all the different personalities, and she wasn't Caroline anymore, thank God. Sorry. I was like, really, Dallas? This is the girl that we're trying to get her back to? No. But she was kind of, you know. But once she was Echo and she was coming into herself, I mean, that I felt like was really the beginning of where we had sort of started with what we wanted the show to be, which was like, you know, who am I really? And you know, all of these different people that everyone wants me to be, you know, no mystery that there's a little Hollywood actor question in there. Who am I really? And who, just the strength that it takes to be you and not be sort of like subjugated by the other people in the world and around you. I mean, I love that character, and we got to play with that a lot also in the final episode where, you know, I love that scene in the truck where there was just all of the colors of her were there, and she was really a complete person with all of these effed up people and things that had happened to her. But she had a sense of humor, and she had, you know, she was just very, just extraordinary at that point, I think. So it was fun to play.
And then I just had a quick thing, Tom. I was wondering if, I'm sorry, I probably pronounced your name wrong, but I was worried that in the finale you would be the one who Joss would axe because he always kills someone. Did you have that fear, or was that just my error?
Well, I knew the show was going to end, so.
Well, no. I mean, Joss kills your favorite character, and I always thought it'd be Paul.
Okay, yeah. I don't know whether to thank you for that or not. I remember when Jen Weed came and knocked on my trailer door very quietly. It was so soft, it was cute. I was just hanging out, and I heard, what is that sound? Somebody at the door that morning, and it's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, what's up, buddy? Why are you acting so weird? He's like, I just want to talk to you about the last episode. I was like, oh god. I knew right away, I'm like, get it.
You're dead.
Yeah. You're killing me, aren't you? Yeah.
No one is safe in their world.
Yeah.
It could have been, yeah, it could have been anyone.
So, did I see it coming? Maybe not. Well, the fact is, like Eliza was saying before, I'm just really happy we got to finish it. We got all 13 done. Just imagine how horrible it would have been for the fans, and for us too as the actors, get so invested in the show. And when you're questioning, you know, whether the show is going to survive or not, day to day, which it was like for us many different times working on that show, you know, to finally know, okay, listen, I know when we found out when Joss came and made the announcement on set, he's like, so I have some bad news, we're going to be canceled, but we're going to be able to finish. It was bittersweet. It really was. It was like, for me, I had so much fun from that point on because you don't have the worry of we're going to be canceled tomorrow, we might not see this through, what have you. We can actually see it through. So ultimately, I'm just happy that we got that done. You know?
And it's not like when he died, he didn't get to go somewhere awesome.
We're in there, we're having a party.
So you still got paid for that episode. You're like, well, technically, I'll put it on your head. So, all my money, man, I'm in there. Man, Joss really knows how to end the show. Like, he will, like you said, he'll kill the main characters. He will blow up the whole friggin' town. Like, he just knows how to end the show. Where you're like, damn, there's no coming back from that. Well, thank you for your question. What's your name, sir? Jason, though, what is your question? Get up on that mic, Jason.
I love the show. And one of the things I noticed that some of the criticisms that Whedon fans had, that I think it seemed like unlike, you know, Buffy, Angel, and Firefly, which started out pretty early on with a group that you knew was sort of like the Scooby Gang, the home base, but Dollhouse didn't have that initially. It was all these individual journeys, and people didn't know what to connect to and all that. But you eventually got there, with getting a group together like that?
Yeah, a little Scooby gang.
Yeah. Did you have a sense early on that was going to be your goal to get there? Was it going to be a longer journey, or is that something that you guys decided to shift into midstream?
I think from the beginning it was clear the players that he was setting up based on who were regulars, who were in the title cards in the beginning. I mean, it was definitely, we were already kind of a posse, I feel like, when we came in. I maybe don't understand what you're referring to.
Well, that people didn't know who to root for. There was no group initially that they were all on the same side and they were all kind of fighting individual things. And eventually they got together. Because the people that were presented early on, even Paul, he's supposed to be the hero, but it gets kind of icky with the other dogs.
Icky?
I think that's part of a master plan to keep people coming back and watching and seeing who goes where and who goes, yeah.
You know what? I kind of hear what you're saying for sure, but going back to that one point, I think in some ways, just at the beginning, we were not to say we, because I wasn't writing the episodes, but I was privy to some of it. When I talked to Joss and Eliza and then shared what was going on, but the blueprint got changed. It was changing daily. Do you know what I mean? Like our relationship specifically was supposed to be sort of fleshed out and closer quite sooner. We were supposed to be going on a specific journey together. There was a different direction planned, so that's episodic. That happens. I watched that happen in Battlestar too. It's such a collaborative process. What we're bringing as the actors to the performance often changes the direction of the show completely. You'll see a relationship between the two actors, potential between two characters that you never saw before. A new storyline that you have to write for. And I think just in the beginning there was a little bit of that happening. And so I heard some criticism in the beginning, but I like to think that we really found our feet about halfway through. It became really clear, and I think ultimately where we came in the second season with all of us as a team, it was kick ass, man.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
And I think what you were speaking to earlier, about that's just Joss, and the other writers, that's sort of their style, which I always have really loved, is that, that it's not just black and white, and you don't really know who's bad, who's good, what's the gray area in between, and just that, as soon as you start to love someone, you kill someone, or it's always kind of keeping people, mystified and not knowing who's good, who's bad. I love that about the show, is that some weeks Adele could be doing the most despicable, evil things, and then the next episode you're weeping for her, not unlike Faith, God, I've had some busted shit. I was killing people at a Pam can with a light up, and I was like torturing babies on that show. And everyone was like, we love you, girl! You're amazing! Don't die! That's the beauty of how he rolls.
Cool.
I was not torturing babies, maybe that's good.
No, maybe he was an asshole and he was asking for it. Thank you for your. We have time for one more question. I think
Who has the best question?
I think that is this young lady right here. He's sitting up front. What is your name?
Serena.
All right, Serena. What is your question? And it better be awesome.
We're going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but so what shocked me about Dollhouse was finding out who the founder was. And did you?
The show's been out for a while. I don't think there's spoiler problem.
I don't think you come to this panel and be like, God damn, they blew it. I didn't know.
If you're here and you haven't seen it yet, then prepare to be,
That was
Like,
great.
with the founder really shocked me.
Yeah.
Personally, like I usually try to come up with ideas about what could be going on, but that one just didn't occur to me. So did you know that from the beginning, or was that something?
hell no. I thought that was really unkind. Joss knew I already had daddy issues. Hose me with that. Takes me hard. Some payback. Yeah, I had no idea.
That was a brilliant twist. When I read that, I was like, awesome. It was so good. You never saw that coming.
Were you guys privy to storylines way in advance, or was it just week to week?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, all the decisions that were made on Dollhouse, it had to be run by me first. So the network and Eliza and Joss, they discuss things. They do most of the work, and they call me, and I say yes or no. So
Tahmoh, it's Rupert Murdoch.
Exactly. Rupert, I'm gonna have to put you on hold.
Oh, that's fine. I love you.
Good voice.
Oh,
You're gonna love that.
Sure. Guess who's never gonna work for Fox now?
But I also think, sorry, because I talk a lot. The cool thing about that too is that for us, there were times where I didn't necessarily want to know what was going to happen in 3 shows, because then subconsciously you can even sort of be foreshadowing before it's meant to be and before it's time.
That could be anything.
We have one more question from the little girl from the show.
Very nice. I'm so sorry. I thought this was 18 plus.
No.
Little lady.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, I'm going now. Impressionable, precious little girl.
When you play bass, what is 5 by 5 mean?
I mean, it means all good, baby. It means everything is 5 by 5, everything's cool, everything's good.
Yeah, it's a
that?
square. 5 by 5 is a square.
Yeah. We're good. Thank you. Are you doing this one?
All right. So before we wrap it up, stuff you're working on now. Are you talking about the Battlestar movie at all? Do you know anything?
Battlestar movie. I think the Battlestar movie that you might be talking about is with some different people.
Mother.
Yes, who originally had the rights to it. It's going to be totally reimagined if that does happen.
All right. Forget all that crap.
Did an awesome Mortal Kombat thing with Marissa.
Yeah, Kevin Petron, really talented. And my buddy Alex and I just finished working on it. That was a ton of fun. Yes, so watch that. Keep me employed.
Eliza, what about, a couple people on Twitter said that there were Ghostbusters 3 rumors floating around for you. Is that,
The internet loves its rumors. No, there's a lot of rumors. There's Ghostbusters 3, there's True Lies 2, there's still a Faith spinoff. I mean, they're all rumors, and until they're not, I guess.
yeah. So what are you working on now that,
I mean, I am working and really getting this movie that I'm producing finished. It was difficult to do while we were shooting the show, and the time is now. I mean, after 8 years, this thing has got to happen.
Yeah.
So there's that. I also, just started a charity organization called Humanitar, which is of Albanian descent, and Humanitar means humanitarian Albanian. I'm doing a lot of work with my mother, who I just talked to this morning. She's in Uganda. Whoever's here that contributed to my 30-30-30 birthday campaign, thank you so much. Mama Judy is on the ground in northern Uganda. We're building a center for rehabilitation and reintegration of former child soldiers of war there. And you guys were awesome. That means a lot to us. And also, I mean, really, I know that some of you are like, what's the next thing? But it's really important to me at this point in my career to be discerning about what I bring to you guys. I don't want to bring you crap, so it's not easy to just, I mean, it is easy to just pick anything, but I want to find the right thing, and God knows I've made a couple bad choices in my career. So try to keep those to a minimum and really make sure that whatever I bring you next and serve you up is only the best.
wow, I
If
mean,
you want to see me, I'll be performing Hamlet at the community theater in Whitehorse, Yukon. I'm giving you a plane ticket right now for about 3:45 return. So come see me on Star Channel.
to a theater full of vampires for 30 days a night. But thank you guys so much for being here. I mean, honestly, we chatted a little bit backstage, and like, you guys are genuinely nice people, and I think that's one of the things that comes through in your performances, and I think that's one of the things that the nerds appreciate about you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here.